Okay, Algebra 2, getting ready for our first unit test on matrices. Um, every review section has a checklist like this. So this list is, it's good for you to read through this list. And I would think if you're alone and you can talk out loud, verbalize, so identify and classify matrices by their dimension. Just speak out loud what you know about that. You know that matrices are row by column. The row is the first number, second number is the columns, okay? How to know when operations are defined. So I'm not going to read through this whole list, but this is a high level bullet points of all the things that we covered. So if you read through this, if you can visualize what we did, what the gotchas were, what the rules were, what to look out for, you should be good to go. But beyond that, you want to have some skills around what we did. Now, this appears to be a lot here at the very end, but with the TI Inspire, make sure that you are very competent entering matrices and store them. The biggest thing is making sure when you enter that matrix, you don't have a number wrong. If your number is wrong, everything you do be wrong, and it's hard to get partial credit. So really double check your data entry there. And then with the TI Inspire, do everything that we did before we had the TI Inspire. That was adding, subtracting, multiplication of matrices, finding inverses. With the TI Inspire, it really doesn't matter the difference between a 2 by 2 and a 2 by 3, okay? You plug it in and the calculator does all the work, and we'll go from there. So let's take a look at some of the examples. Get used to this format. So you will see this, and I realize we probably didn't have this format in the homework, but I give you 3 or 4 matrices. This is 4 matrices up top, and I need for you to enter those and then figure out what's going on. The best way to do this will be to enter them all and store them in variables. Okay, so let's enter these matrices. So I got matrix A, B, C, and D. So let's go ahead and do that. So in order to do that, it's let me just create a new document. So if you've got something, so let's just create file, new document, don't say what I have. Let's start all over fresh. That clears all my variables. So menu, matrix and vector, create a matrix. First matrix A is a 3 by 3 matrix. So 3 by 3. And let's enter this 3 by 3. 1, 5, negative 4. 1, 5, negative 4. Next matrix is, next row, 2, 6, 3. 2, 6, 3. Last row, 1, 8, 4. 1, 8, 4. And what you want to be sure, the biggest mistake you're going to make in this section is having a typo. So 1, 5, negative 4, 2, 6, 3, 1, 8, 4. Move the cursor to the right. Let's store this. Control, var. That is matrix A. So we have stored, type that again. We have stored matrix A. Okay, matrix A has been stored. Now let's go on to B. Menu, matrix and vector. Create a matrix, which is a 2 by 2 matrix B. So B is 3, negative 9. So 3, negative 9. Next row is 14, 2. 14, 2. Move the cursor to the right. This matrix gets stored as matrix B. Control, var, B. Matrix B is now stored. So I've got AB. Matrix C. Matrix C is a 1 by 2 matrix. So menu, create, matrix, 1 by 2. So this is going to be a 1 by 2 matrix. Let's create, this is matrix C. It has the two numbers 3 and 4. So 3, 4. And if I move the cursor, control, var, this matrix gets stored as matrix C. And we are good to go there. So ABC. Last matrix is D. So D is a matrix which is a, 2 rows, 3 columns, 2 by 3. So menu, matrix, create. This is a 2 rows, 3 column matrix. And we'll enter then 3, 6, 1, 3, tab, 6, tab, 1, and then 9, negative 7, 4. 9, negative 7, 4. And move the cursor to the right, control var. This is matrix D. And all the matrices are stored. So work up front, all the matrices are stored, and now we just go look and see what the problem is asking for. What happens when you multiply A and D? So if you go to your calculator and it has to be A times D. And when I try to do that, I get dimension error, okay? You might could have done that without the calculator because A is 3 by 3, D is 2 by 3, so you know that this is undefined. So all I really need to see there was undefined. You could have gotten this without doing the calculation. So you can try this again, CB. So C is what? 1 by 2, and B is 2 by 2. We know that's going to work and give me a 1 by 2. Let's go find our answer real quick. So C times B. So that's going to be C times B. And that gives me 65 minus 19. So the answer there is just 65 minus 19. That's a matrix, okay? So it needs the brackets. 1/2 of D times A. So just go to my calculator. What is? You can just have a parentheses. You can do 0.5, or you can just say 1 divided by 2. Back up. 1 divided by 2, that's 1/2, times D times A equal. Okay, that is a 3 by 3 matrix. 8. 59 halves 5. So 8. 59 halves 5. And I'm just copying these numbers down. Excuse me, this is a 3 by 2. So negative 1/2, 35 halves. So negative 1/2, 35 halves, and the last number is negative 41 halves. So negative 41 halves. Okay, the numbers are ugly, but you really don't have to do work for it, okay? Just putting that in the calculator. D squared. So D squared, that's going to be D times D. Okay, it tells me that that is not valid, okay? You would have known that before you tried it. So look at this. D is a, what, how many rows? 2 by 3. So 2 by 3 times a 2 by 3. This can't be done. So this is undefined. Okay. Determinant of A. Okay, square matrix, I can take the determinant. So let's do the determinant of A. A couple ways of doing this. I just type in D, E, T, put a parentheses, and then determinant of A. Put an A in there, hit return, and the determinant of A is minus 65. Just write it down and you keep going. What is the inverse of A? Again, A is a square matrix. I can find the inverse. Let's find that. So the inverse, I just have A and then caret, raise it to the negative 1 power. That's how I denote inverse. And I guess I'm pretty ugly. 0 4/5, negative 3/5. So 0 4/5, negative 3/5. And then 1/13, negative 8 over 65. 1/13, negative 8 over 65. 11/65. 11 over 65, and then what is it, 2 over 13, negative 2 over 13, 3 over 65, 3 over 65, and the last number is 4 over 65. 4 over 65, it's a matrix, got to have the brackets, okay? That's my 3 by 3 matrix, which is the inverse of A. Okay, so again, this is testing matrix skills with the calculator. And then here, this is where we talked about a 3 by 3 system. Remember, when we start with a system of equations, we can extract the coefficient matrix, the variable matrix. So I can write this as 2 minus 3, and there is no component for z, and then 1, 4, negative 1, 2, 1, 2, that's my matrix of coefficients. I have a variable matrix, x, y, z. All of this equal a solution matrix, negative 18, negative 4, 32. And if I want to solve this matrix equation, You can write the next step down, or you can do it in your head. But basically what has to happen on my calculator is x, y, z has to equal the inverse of that coefficient matrix So the inverse of this matrix times the solution matrix. Now you can store these matrices in the calculator, or like I said, you can just do this on the fly. So I can come in here and say, okay, let's just put these matrices in. So I've got to multiply the 3 by 3 times the 3 by 2. So let's create a new matrix, which is a 3 by 3. So 3 by 3. So 3 by 3 matrix, and that matrix is going to be what? 2, negative 3, 0, 2, negative 3, 0, and then go to the next row. That was going to be 1, 4, negative 1, 1, 4, negative 1. Go to the next row, and that's going to be 2, 1, 2. So 2, 1, 2. The biggest thing you can do is just double check your answers on this. So if I go back to, it was what? 2, negative 3, 0, 1, 4, negative 1, 2, negative 3, 0, 1, 4, negative 1, and 2, 1, 2. That is correct. Move my cursor. For this matrix, I need its inverse. So raise that to the negative 1. That is the inverse. You see my cursor is up near the exponent. Bring the cursor down. Times. This matrix gets multiplied by another matrix. So let's enter our next matrix. Our next matrix is a, what, 3 by 1 matrix. So it's a 3 by 1 matrix. That's the matrix with all the solutions, negative 18, negative 4. So negative 18, negative 4, and 32. And that should be it. If I've done everything right, all I have to do now is just hit the return. That gives me my solution, negative 3, 4, and 17. So negative 3, 4, and 17. Okay, that's it. So that is, for this test, that's the end of the calculator section. And then we move on to problems that we should be able to solve without the TI Inspire. So how do we do this? Okay, let's find AB. So A is a 2 by 2 matrix. B is a 2 by 3 matrix. I can do this operation and I should get a 2 by 3 matrix as my answer. So a 2 by 3 matrix is going to look like first row, first column, first row, second column, first row, third column, and then second row first, second row second, and then second row third. You don't have to write all that down, but that just helps me know where the numbers come from. So multiplying AB. So I multiply 3 times negative 1. So I'm going to get a negative 3. So I'm going first row, first column, 3, negative 1, and 2, 0. Now I go to first row, second column. That's 3 times 2. So 3 times 2 plus 2 times 3. And then first row, third column. That's 3 times negative 1 plus 2 times negative 2. Okay, now I go to second row, first column. That's 19 times negative 1 plus 13 times 0. Second row, second column. 2 times 19, that's 38, plus 3 times 13, that's 39. And then we go to second row, third column. Negative 1 times 19, that's negative 19. And 13 times minus 2, that's minus 26. So this gives me negative 3, 12, negative 7, negative 19. 38 and 39 is what, 77. Negative 19 and 26 is negative 45. And there we go. So that is our solution. BA. B is 2 by 3. A is 2 by 2. You should love this one. This is undefined. That is all you need, okay? It is undefined. And then let's move on. Finding A inverse, okay? So to find A inverse, let me just write A. A is 3, 2, 19, 13. A inverse, so A inverse, first I had to find the determinant. So the determinant of A is 3 times 13 minus 2 times 19. That's 39 minus 38, that's 1. Determinant is 1. So A inverse is going to be 1 over 1, and then the adjugant. So 13, 3, negative 19, negative 2. Okay? You could just write it as 13, negative 2, negative 19, 3. That's your final answer. Determinant of C. If I look at C matrix, what are the dimensions of C? C is a 2 by 2 matrix, so it's negative 4, 2, 1, negative 1. That's the matrix C. So the determinant of that matrix is going to be negative 4 times negative 1 minus 1 times 2. So this number is 4 minus 2. The determinant is equal to 2. 1/2 of A plus C. So let's look, what are our dimensions again? Matrix A is 2 by 2, and matrix C is also 2 by 2. So that can be done. So 1/2 of A plus C. So this is going to be 1/2, and then I'm going to add matrix A. So let's do this, matrix A plus matrix C. So this is going to be, what was matrix A? 3, 2, 19, 13. 3, 2, 19, 13. And matrix C was negative 4, 2, 1, negative 1. Negative 4, 2, 1, negative 1. Let's double check that. Negative 4, 2, 1, negative 1. 3, 2, 19, 13. Yeah. So add these together. So you're going to get 1/2. 3 plus negative 4 is negative 1. 2 plus 2 is 4. 19 plus 1 is 20. 13 minus 1 is 12. So your answer is negative 1/2. Negative 1/2. 2, 10, 6. And that should be it. Okay. So that's about halfway through the non-calculator section. Now we've got a system of equations that turns into a matrix equation. And you know the drill. Write the matrix of coefficients, matrix of coefficients, matrix of variables, solution matrix. Solve the matrix equation. This matrix equation, xy, is equal to the inverse of 4, 3, 14, 11 times negative 2, negative 8. Now it just boils down to finding the inverse, doing the multiplication. So how do I find the determinant of that matrix? So the determinant is going to be 4 times 11 minus 3 times 14. That's 44 minus 42. The determinant is 2. So xy, let's just change colors. xy is going to be 1/2. And then the adjugant matrix, 11, 4, negative 14, negative 3, times negative 2, negative 8. So let's just keep that 1/2 till the very last step. Now let's multiply. Negative 2 times 11. Negative 3 times negative 8. Okay. Negative 2 times negative 14. And then 4 times negative 8. So this is 1/2 of 2 and 4, which is 1 and 2. X is 1, Y is 2. You can double check your answers, make sure that's right. If you plugged in a 1 and a 2 in right here, you would get 4 plus, did I do that right? There's a mistake. My mistake. That is a negative 4. 28 minus 32 is negative 4. That's negative 2. So it's 1 and negative 2. So that was a good point. If I go check my work, 1 and negative 2, plug it in here, you would get 4 minus 6, that's negative 2. Here I would get 14 minus 22, negative 8. So double checking your answer can help. It found my mistake that I saw right there. And that is it, okay? So that should be it for what you need to do for the review. Again, don't approach this like I only did the review, but it's everything. But this review is a good representation. If there's anything you struggled in this review, go back to the homework for that section, okay? Alrighty, take care.